Morning, family. Today I looked at the book of Matthew, chapter 16, from verse from verse from verse 13 up to verse 20, and what I saw there was mind blowing. What I saw there was the importance of knowing the revelation of Jesus Christ from a personal angle, not from what you hear, not from what you hear people say, what you see, or what you listen to other people. Because Jesus had been walking with 12 disciples for all that time, and he's going to be crucified. And he asks them, "Who do people say I am?" And they gave him every answer they could imagine. But now this guy, Peter, he opens up his mouth and boom, he unlocks his destiny. This one kept me thinking. Like, what does it mean to know Christ from a personal angle? What does it mean to know Christ as me? What does it mean to know God from a personal level? Because when he says, look at verse 14, now the disciples are answering him. When Jesus said, "Who do people say that the Son of Man is?" They said, "Some say John the Baptist, others say Elijah, and others Jeremiah, or one of the prophets." And he said to them, "But who do you say I am?" And this is what Peter says: "You are Christ, the Son of the living God." And Jesus told him, "This you are blessed, Simon, son of Jonah, for flesh and blood has not revealed this to you, but my Father who is in heaven." Which means that your flesh and blood can reveal something to you that is not of God. Because the flesh and the blood will always fight. The flesh will want to take over, the spirit will also want to take over. And it does not just do that on the body alone, it also starts from the mind. If you are not sensitive to what God is doing, if you are not sensitive to the plans of God for your life, if you don't follow the teachings of God in the way you're supposed to, then flesh and blood will not reveal this to you. Listen, flesh and blood has no power to reveal Christ to you. Flesh and blood cannot reveal God to you. So you know that from today, you need to turn direction. Turn directions. Turn directions. And stick to the Spirit. And I tell you, then after he had that revelation, Jesus tells him, "And I tell you, you are Peter. And on this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it." This is the same Peter who denied Jesus. This is the same Peter who said, "I don't know him." And he's the same one who is right now saying, "You are Christ, the Son of God." And this is the same Peter who stands and says at the day of Pentecost who the real apostles are. Once you know who Christ is to you, once you get the real revelation of who he is to you from a personal angle, get born again, get sanctified, start listening to godly sermons, godly music, godly literature, have godly friends. Don't be afraid to enjoy life alone. You can never die because you stayed alone. Ask God to lead you and to guide you so that you start channeling your antennas towards knowing Christ's revelation for you. Because if you answer to your flesh, you will never know who Christ is. If you answer to the whims of the world, you will never know who Christ is. Because if you do not know who Christ is, then you will, number one, not know why you are on earth. Number two, you will not know what you came to do. Number three, you will not know what is in your destiny and purpose in Christ. Because after Peter realizes this, Jesus tells him, After he has told him that you are the rock, and on you I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. Meaning that no matter what Peter went through, Jesus had already decreed that the gates of hell shall not prevail against the church. Against the church. The church includes you and me. So he says, I will give you the keys of the kingdom, and whatever you bind on earth shall be bound in heaven. Whatever you loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven. On this revelation of who Christ is in you, then you're given keys to fight your fight good of faith. Have you been called into become apostle? Have you been called to become a prophet? Have you been called to become a teacher or an evangelist? After you know the revelation of Christ, then you'll be given the keys that will help you to loose and to bind anything on earth, and it shall be bound in heaven, because that is the will of God for his church. Have a blessed Sunday.